'em up, lay it down just like Matt Amari. Wrestling liver HalloWWEn's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt Amari. Wrestling liver HalloWWEn's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like The Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
I love it.
Damn.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling RHAPUp. I'm your host, the boss, Sasha Banks, here on this special Halloween, or should I say, WWE edition of the Wrestling RHAPUp. No, who am I kidding? This is Matt Scott here, in case you couldn't recognize me through the costume, and I am making a fool of myself. If you're not watching the video version today, you are missing out here on the Wrestling RHAPUp, but I am not alone. I am joined by two incredible guests who are here with me today as we dive in and talk about pro wrestling. And as I stall and get one theme song ready, please welcome Stan C, aka Rey Mysterio.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be part of the Wrestling RHAPUp, and it's probably the only time I'll be dressing up for Halloween in the next 5 years. So thanks, Matt, for making me bring out my costume.
You know what? That's what it's all about. And I love your costume, or at least what I could see of it through my costume. But next up, please welcome, recently making his return to the WWE, the one, the only, Bray Wyatt, a.k.a. AJ Norris.
Why, yes, it is I have made my return. I am back to cause mess and cause havoc. You are not prepared for me, emotionally or physically. Let's do this.
Wow, this is good. Okay, this episode's already very creepy. People are probably wondering what's going on, where Mari is. That was scary. That was terrifying. This episode is the 10, 9, 8, 7, 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 10, 9, 8, 7, 10, 9, 8. This is the Halloween, the Halloween edition of the Wrestling RHAPUp. It's a little bit early. It's very spooky. We're going to try to hold it together. Me, Rey Mysterio, Bray Wyatt. But how are you two doing today? Mari always asks that question. And I figured I might as well ask you two as we dive in.
I'm doing great. I'm ready to speak with authority that I don't have. And, and I'm ready to be correct. That's all I got to say. I'm ready to kill this episode. Y'all ain't ready for me. I'm
yeah,
here.
and by the way, AJ, I want to ask. So
Yes.
You're Bray Wyatt right now, but Bray Wyatt, like, why Bray Wyatt?
Because I was a big WWE person, and then I dropped off. One of the people that brought me back in was Bray Wyatt. Like, I was so enamored by his character. I was like, ooh, this guy could do things. Then they didn't do things with him, and I was like, you know what, I can drop out.
Yeah. So, like, this is my question. So, like, Bray's very interesting because, like, he's mostly a heel. Do you gravitate more to because, like, Sasha Banks, as you could see, like, Sasha Banks, pink hair.
Yeah.
Like, this is like baby face, good guy, good girl, good. One of the things, Sasha. Like, so I don't know. You're gravitating to more of the heels, aren't you?
I love heels. I love heels so much with all my heart. Like, honestly, I feel like what is this company without the good heel?
Well,
like,
AJ,
based on my opinions later on, you can tell I love the heel.
Well, AJ, just for you, I'm gonna take off my. I'm gonna do the
Oh!
I got my pink wig off because that's what you thought. You thought I was the good boss, Sasha Banks, but no. Screw the pink wig. I got the blue one out. I'm here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. The legit boss is here. And you know who's also here? The one and only Stan C, Rey Mysterio. Stan, why Rey? Is it just because you had the mask?
Yeah, it's really just because I had the mask. I see when I was getting into wrestling, it was the Ruthless Aggression era, and I always wanted to get a Rey Mysterio mask. So the first opportunity I had to go get a Rey Mysterio mask, I made sure to get one, and I just so happened to find a replica of his WrestleMania 25 mask, which was the Joker Rey mask, very iconic. So I got it, and I whip it out any chance I can get, and I don't really have a Rey Mysterio shirt. So I figured I'd put on an Eddie Guerrero shirt to match the Rey Mysterio shirt since we were talking about Halloween Havoc, right? Rey, Eddie, Halloween Havoc 1997, instant classic.
It works. It works. And again, you know what? It's great to be here with you two. And I'm taking off this wig. Like, let me just get this wig off. Overheating here.
Oh, keep it on. Keep it on.
The Sasha Banks thing was fun. I have my little necklace on, my little glasses on. I hope Mari appreciates that. I hope she regrets not being here.
Suffer for your art.
No, it came off. It took me too long to put it back on. How am I going to put this on? See, instead of a news section this week where we dive into all the serious business in wrestling and who got injured and who returned, we're just doing this basically because why not? But again, this is the NXT catch-up edition right before NXT Halloween Havoc. And we're all a mess. I'm still Sasha. I'll leave the glasses and the necklace and the jacket on if that helps. But
it helps.
Yeah, but look, I'm ready to dive into all this stuff with NXT Halloween Havoc. So we're going to really get right to it. But before we dive in, I want to do a few plugs and just encourage folks to subscribe. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me get my AJ stall while I pick up my wig off the ground.
So we are coming back with y'all to talk about NXT Havoc. There is going to be mess. There are some of these folks that don't have any business being on the show, and I stand by my statement. But some of these folks, oh my gosh, I see these folks, and trust me, they're going to make a big impact once they move up to the main roster. I promise you that. Y'all ain't ready for them.
That's right. So this week's Russ. Okay, wait. I'm doing my plugs again as Sasha Banks. This is complete and total mess. So if you want to subscribe to the Wrestling RHAPup where Matt and Mari do their thing, they know what they're doing. They're amazing. They're legit bosses. You can subscribe at robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed. You can email us at wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. # Wrestling RHAPup on social media. You could tweet me at MattScottGW. Tweet Mari at Mari Talks Too Much. 2, like the number 2. And check out the show notes, the show description for a playlist of clips to catch up on all things that we're going to talk about today. The other thing I'll mention is that you could join the official, unofficial Facebook group, Job Has a Squadcast. And so just hit me up, hit Mari up, let us know, and we'll hook you up. And again, follow us on Twitter at Wrestling RHAPup. And one last thing I'll mention, as we all know, there's never a bad time to become a Rob Has a Podcast patron, which you could do at robhasawebsite.com/Patreon. So many great benefits. And again, if you're not looking at our beautiful, handsome, debonair, gorgeous, bossly faces, you could do that at robhasawebsite.com/YouTube. Honestly, if you're not watching the YouTube for this episode, I think you might be missing out because AJ just turned on his light and my wig came off again.
What happened to my give Matt the keys?
All right. Did we just get booed?
Honestly,
yeah, for not keeping your wig on.
Oh yeah, boo boo.
Look, just doing what I have to do here. And speaking of what you have to do, dear listener, leave us 5 stars, leave a review, rate us, let us know what you think, show us some love. We really put a lot into it. You know how many wig reveals I just did? multiple wig reveals, technically with the wig coming on and off, and then there were 2 wigs. It's really a sight to be seen. So leave us those 5 stars, people. We really do our best for you. But speaking of people doing their best, let's turn our attention to NXT Halloween Havoc. All right, Stan, maybe just to start out with you. Overall, how are you feeling going into Halloween Havoc?
I'm just happy that NXT's gotten back to mounting these premium live events, kind of like the NXT takeovers of old, right? I really miss them when NXT reformatted into 2.0. So now that we're in the post 2.0 era, I guess we're calling it NXT 3.0 or white and gold, however you want to call it. It's nice to get a bit of the old feels back, which we're getting in this premium live event. And it's always good for the NXT wrestlers to get their reps in, to get that type of exposure on a different stage other than the Tuesday show. So I'm actually pretty excited heading into Halloween Havoc. And it kind of helps that I'm not working this show as well. So normally, right, for the main roster shows, we'd have to call it in Filipino for the Filipino audience. And for Halloween Havoc, I get to take the day off and just enjoy it like everybody else.
Yes, we love that. We love the relaxation. And speaking of people who look very relaxed and casual right now, AJ, how are you feeling about NXT overall? Obviously, I know that you're not always you're not following along. None of us are following along as closely as Stan is, truly. But thinking about just these clips and kind of what you've kept up with, how are you feeling overall going into this? And we'll talk about it all and break it all down.
I'm really excited. Like, I expect there to be several great matches on the card tonight because it is Saturday. And I like a lot of the storylines. There's a couple of them that I'm like snoozed on, but I think a lot of them has a lot of potential, and I'm excited to see how it plays out. So I'm very happy. I'm very pleased. I'm very happy with the card.
Yeah, so we're going to talk through a bit of the storylines, the matches, and we're going to give our predictions. So I'm going to ask you two what you think will happen and ask myself what I think will happen because I have no clue. But actually, before we get to one of the matches, I want to talk about the hosts of this show. And it was announced that Schatzi, aka Schatzi Blackheart, will be the host of NXT Halloween Havoc, though we did see a little bit of contention once she showed up and announced that she would be the person hosting the show to figure out who her co-host would be. And so there was actually a match between Zion Quinn and the one, the only, the super diva, Quincy Elliott, who I love. And of course, Quincy Elliott came out on top and will be co-hosting the show with Schatzi probably riding down to the ring in that little tank that she has, the taking care of business machine. So I'm looking forward to that. But just overall, just to start there on this very light note, what were you two thinking or feeling about just that segment, the setup, the co-hosts going into this one? Man.
So like personally, right?
Yeah.
I don't care for when people host. Really, it's just, in my opinion, people who like should be on the regular card being not given the opportunity to show what they could do on the regular card. But they was like, you're valuable enough, so let me put you in front of the people. Which is fine. I love Quincy Elliott. I love this man with all my heart. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. The moment I saw him, I was like, you know what? This is my guy, and no one else could host this with Schatzi. Like, honestly. So I was so overjoyed. Full stop. Look at this man. Yeah. Baby. They have the chemistry and everything. I love it.
I know there was a little moment where he was even doing a little bit of a twerk or a little dance on her with her, truly. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. There's definitely like a little bit of a clash of styles. It seems like I feel like Quincy Elliott gives in terms of the wrestling reference, and we talked about this before, he gives a little bit of like the Goldust, Viscera, thinking of a couple people from back in the day. But he's also giving like a little bit of a Prince vibe through all of this and all. But Stan, I have to ask you how you feel about them. I know you're a Schatzi fan, so I wanted to see what you think.
First off, huge fan of Ate Schatzi, as we call her here in the Philippines, because she is half Pinoy. So, every time she's on the screen, I always get a kick out of it. And it's especially nice to see her as a babyface once again. So now that she's back on the side of the good guys, I can't think of a better host for Halloween Havoc. And Quincy Elliott, man, what a treasure, right? Quincy Elliott is a grade A character. I love how Quincy Elliott just is, like when you see Quincy on the screen, you just get it. And when you put them together, just the few minutes that we got of Schatzi and Quincy together on screen, I thought it was magic, and I can't wait to see them and whatever shenanigans they get up to. Maybe Quincy comes out in the tank alongside Schatzi, right? I would pop for that. So I'm pretty excited to see both of them kicking off the show.
I want to see them in the tank together like it's a clown car. That's what I want. Just for
Yeah.
the entertainment value and to see what that tank can do. But Stan, you mentioned it. I mean, do you think we'll get Quincy Elliott and Schatzi together beyond this? Do you think their chemistry is so strong that we're going to continue to get them together, or are we just going to have to leave this at Halloween Havoc?
I mean, we just started the whole Hank Walker and Quincy Elliott partnership, right? So that program just began a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think they're going to drop that anytime soon, especially with the way that NXT has been telling its stories. And I think Shotzi's got her own business on the main roster with Damage Control and Raquel and all of that good stuff, basing off of what happened on SmackDown earlier in my time. Yeah. So I don't think she's staying in NXT beyond Halloween Havoc, but that's just my uninformed opinion.
Well, we'll take it. I think that's a pretty solid opinion, but I had to ask. We could dream. The people could dream. But you know what? We talked about the hosts. So let's get into the real action and the business, the matches. And we will start out by talking about the NXT Women's Championship match that's happening between the NXT Women's Champion, Mandy Rose of Toxic Attraction, and the one and only Alba Fire. And by the way, big shout out to whoever made these graphics from WWE, because I'm digging the Halloween vibes here. But just to kind of start us out and give a little bit of a setup for what this is looking like. This match has been in the making for a few months, actually. And for the most part, when we talk through these matches today, we're really looking at what has happened over the last couple months, especially since NXT hosted their Worlds Collide pay-per-view, when there was NXT UK competing with NXT proper. And so, we have Mandy of the wonderful Toxic Attraction. But before I actually get into what's been transpiring since then, I kind of wanted to see if there are any just AJ, looking to you, any immediate reactions to these characters, maybe beginning with Mandy Rose, our champ.
Like, I truly am attracted to toxic folks. And, like, honestly, Mandy is no different. Mandy is no different. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm here for it. I love it so much with all my heart. Mandy Rose and her gang, I like all of them. I love them all. I'm like, you know what? Y'all can do whatever. I'm okay. I'm okay. So, like, honestly, 5 stars, 10 out of 10. I love them with all my heart. Alba Fire. Like, Alba Fire is fine. I'm gonna be completely honest. She is cool. She got her bat on fire. I was like, ooh, a bat on fire. I love that energy. But I really want to see Mandy Rose go the distance. Like, people are hyping Mandy up, and I'm like, yo, I want to see Mandy like do some damage, and especially with Shayna Baszler. They were part of Page Crew, correct? Am I correct?
Oh no, Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville.
I mean, I'm sorry.
No, that's a good comparison, because Shayna Baszler and Sonya Deville both did
MMA.
The MMA. Yes,
they're somewhere. They're somewhere. But I'm excited. You know what? I really want Sonya Deville to take the title off of Mandy Rose, because they were talking about like, yo, Sonya hasn't really accomplished much when it comes to championship wise, and then Mandy's over here flourishing. So I'm like, Alba, you're cool. That's what I want. That's what I want personally.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. That's very interesting to hear. And like, we'll skip ahead just a little bit, because we did see in this storyline, one of the things that I think I love the most, and we almost talked about it last week on the Wrestling RHAPup, but Sonya Deville interjected herself into the dynamics here, just to kind of give more background on what's been going on. Obviously, Toxic Attraction have been at like the head of NXT for a little bit of the women's division, having all of the championships and the gold, and they lost the women's tag team championships. But of course, Mandy Rose still reigning supreme with that women's tag team championship. And AJ, calm down. I'm watching you. I'm you. But so Alba Fire has come in and kind of I have so many questions about Alba Fire, kind of to share and to put out there. There's, I guess I don't really understand, but she's a pyromaniac. All of a sudden, which just seems very dangerous and like it would lead to very high insurance liability and stuff and things. But I'm not an expert.
Fire is fun. Say it with me.
I mean, as long as she doesn't indulge herself in like self-immolation, then I guess she's fine, right?
As long as she emulates other people, that's okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like it's maybe it's a little worse that other people are involved, but it is fascinating to me, and I do appreciate that there is a story there, like she's honoring the fire keepers from her history, the war,
her clan.
Yes, her clan from back in Scotland days, but. I don't want anything to do with that fire, to be honest. It's freaking me out a little bit. I don't know about that.
I mean, to be fair, I'd like to think that the Alba Fire persona actually gives the former Kaylee Ray a character to hitch on to, just because for the longest time when she was on NXT UK, she was just Kaylee Ray, the forever champion. And while that's a character in and of itself, like when she transitioned to the main roster, they were kind of having a hard time, I guess, presenting Kaylee Ray as someone when she didn't have the championship, when she wasn't the forever champion. So I guess that's why they had to give her the Alba Fire persona. Remember, this is also right before the time that NXT 2.0 had to be reformatted to the NXT we see today. So I guess she was one of those wrestlers who had to get her name changed and all that. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray, however you want to call her, and I do want to see her become NXT Women's Champion, but Mandy Rose is literally days away from the 1-year mark in her title run. So I don't think that that's going to happen, or I don't think Alba Fire is going to win just because it's so close to the 1-year mark, and I think Mandy would get a lot of heat for actually crossing that threshold. Don't you think?
Look, I love Mandy Rose. I love Mandy Rose. Because look, you could go in and you could look at a character like that and think, why is she here? What is she doing? You know, she brings in a lot of the more stereotypical diva aspects of the character that people nowadays kind of tend to scoff at, whereas back in the day it was more of the norm. She brings that back. And I think for a lot of people who are women's wrestling fans, they might look at that and say, oh, she's taking us back. You know, she's going with like the sexier outfits, the more like, I'm pretty, I'm hot, I know it. So what? What are we going to do about it? But the thing is, we don't have a lot of that these days. So I love that from Mandy, because it actually is unique. And she's a great heel. But the other thing is that the main roster of WWE needs some more, especially on the women's side, I should say, needs more heels. And so
needs a heel who isn't Charlotte Flair.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Well, look, don't say that name, Stan. We're not going to bring her up. We're not going to bring up Charlotte Flair because she's just, I know she's creeping in the shadows, getting ready to return to the main roster right now. I hope she's enjoying her vacation wherever she is. I hope she's having a good time. But yes, they need a heel who is not Charlotte Flair, and Mandy Rose would really bring a lot to that. But I guess for me, it's a question of when does she go up to the main roster, and is it sooner rather than later? Like, does she lose the championship here and end up going up to main, or do we have more of a story? Like, for instance, do we have Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville fighting for the championships in NXT, which I think would be cool, but I'm afraid they're going to take away our Mandy from NXT.
Yes, but you do not pay enough attention to NXT, so we need more eyes on Mandy.
This is true. So we're getting there. And you know what? I think that, like, looking at this, like, I love, like, that for this match, for me, this is the first one to cover and talk about, because we have Mandy and what's been established there, and Toxic Attraction, which have really been established as these heels. And one of the things that I really appreciate about Toxic Attraction is I felt like Mandy Rose was really well established as the character, but the others, see, even I just said the others.
Come on, put some respect on Gigi and JC's names.
JC Jane and Gigi Dolan. I caught myself though. They were, they haven't been as well established. They've kind of been lackeys following her a lot around. And over the last couple months. We've seen some video packages. There was one that I appreciated of them going into a bar, and
I love that. That was so hot.
Do you want to talk about that, Stan? What was that? What happened in that package?
Yeah, so they basically went inside some bar or some beer house, as we'd call it here, and they basically just started some ish, and they beat people up, and they looked really hot doing it. And honestly, I love it because I love the presentation of Toxic Attraction. I love how Mandy Rose is like the big sister or like the meanest mean girl of the sorority, and Gigi and JC are her little pledges. Like, that's how it comes across to me, and it's just so fun watching them. So I'm keen to see them move up to the main roster. I thought that was actually going to happen when the women's tag team title tournament happened a few months ago. That obviously didn't happen because of the injury, but whether they stay on NXT or go to Raw or SmackDown, wherever Toxic Attraction goes, I'm going to keep following them.
And speaking of that, AJ, if you were in the bar where they were, and they walked in, and they decided to beat everyone up, smash glasses, everything else, what would your reaction be? Like, would I'm just curious.
Do me next. Okay, I'm ready.
So.
Shout out to the RHAP out of context account, who's just gonna take this and then post it right away.
I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed.
What do you mean?
I'm listening to Mari's voice in my head, like, Matt, what did you do? You got us canceled.
It's okay, Mari. This is what happens when you leave. Now I'll teach you for leaving this podcast ever again.
So continuing on, and speaking of things that Toxic Attraction, so I was saying, Alba Fire. So Toxic Attraction has been established. They had this video package. They've established more of their characters. It's the 1-year anniversary of NXT 2.0 back in September. So they had a moment where they were reflecting on that, but this is where we're starting to see Alba Fire and Mandy Rose clash, which I think is really going to be interesting because we're getting to Halloween Havoc. But we've seen a lot go on. There's been a lot of fire, a lot of pyrotechnics. Anything from you, AJ, and then you, Stan, that you just kind of want to shout out in terms of the build to this that's like been especially notable?
That's been especially notable. I think I've really enjoyed Mandy Rose's posse. I think the fact that like this is not like a what's that word? Like a specialty match. The fact it's just like a straightforward match. I'm like, that is not an Alba's Fire health, even though she does have a flame bat. Like those women are going to interfere, and I don't know if this is going to be the end. But if like shenanigans happens, which I love shenanigans. Shenanigans are fun. But I feel like we are being set up to be like, you love Alba, do not expect anything good to happen to her this Saturday.
Ooh. That's actually a logical prediction right there. I will expect a banger, though, just because you go back to Worlds Collide, Mandy Rose and that triple threat against Meiko Satomura and Blair Davenport. That was my favorite match on that show. And I think being in the ring with another vet like Alba Fire, Mandy Rose is a vet herself as well, right? Like, she technically shouldn't even be in developmental anymore at this point. But you put Mandy Rose and Alba Fire, two established vets, in there. I think this is gonna be a dark horse contender for match of the night.
Yeah, so we did ultimately, as mentioned, get Alba Fire kind of overcoming the odds. She was, going 3-on-1 or one against 3 with Sonya Deville, with Gigi Dolan, with JC Jane, and managed to overcome that. Mandy returned this past week from being abducted by Alba Fire, which, like, first of all, I'm just gonna accept that this happened, but.
I'm glad you're accepting this is happening, because I was like, what? What?
Stan, do you have more context on this abduction that happened with
Yeah, I mean, the real reason from behind the scenes is because Mandy Rose had to take a bereavement leave, right? So condolences to Mandy and her family in real life. But we live in the world where in wrestling you can get away with abducting people, and this is not even the first time it's happened in the canon of professional wrestling. So this is the world we live in, and I have just come to terms with that being how things go. So
Like, here's my thing,
standard
Stan.
sports entertainment fare.
I've never seen such nonchalant abduction. Like that's my thing. That's my thing.
I mean, Wade Barrett was the only one to really cry foul over it, and now he's on SmackDown.
Look, I'm just saying. Look, I have questions. I know. I'm glad that Mandy is back. I don't know where she was being kept in the storyline. Outside of the storyline, of course, in real life, sending love to Mandy Rose. Of course, Stan, you referenced the losses. The big loss that she had. Not to rank losses, but I believe her brother passed away. And actually, one of the people who was in WWE Tough Enough, Sarah Lee, with Mandy Rose, also passed away either the same day or that same within a couple of days of that. So she's been through a lot. There's been a lot going on. It's great to have her show up. We love Mandy Rose. AJ really loves Mandy Rose, but let's just go back to it. Let's go at it. I want to talk about our predictions and overall thoughts for this match. Stan, what do you think about this, and who do you think will win? What do you think we have to expect from this one?
Yeah, dark horse for match of the night right here. I'm going to have to go with AJ. AJ's prediction from earlier that bad things will happen to Alba Fire and that she will not be NXT Women's Champion, much to my dismay.
Oh, my God. So, AJ, that's your official prediction?
Yes, I second my own opinion.
I have to just check it. It's like the point where you have to really make sure that you're getting in it. So it's official. We're locking it in. I'm gonna show that I think it's gonna be Alba Fire who walks out with this championship. I love Toxic Attraction and Mandy Rose more and more as they continue the act. Like, it hasn't gotten old or stale for me at all. And so I want it to keep going. But the thing is, and this actually goes back to a question that we got in the Job Has a Squadcast Facebook group from Derek, who asked, who are the next call-ups? And I really do think that Mandy and Toxic Attraction will be called up. Part of that is that we did see Toxic Attraction back in July, I want to say, in the women, or maybe August, in the Women's Championship tag team tournament, even though that ended because of injury. And so it seems to me like there's interest in having them up there in terms of GG and JC. But Mandy is just ready. Like, she was on the main roster just over a year ago before coming into NXT. She could go back. I don't want them to take her, but it's gonna happen. They're gonna abduct her all the way up to the main roster.
Not again.
Hasn't she? Yeah, just leave her alone. Leave her alone. Let her sit still for a little bit. But I don't know. I think that's solid. And by the way, just want to read another comment from Derek, who mentions Toxic Attraction. I know some don't love them, but I think Mandy has done a phenomenal job, and JC especially as well. Is it more beneficial to Mandy to lose tomorrow and them to go up as a trio, or for her to keep it and pass the 1 year mark? So yeah, I think that's really the big question, and something that we'll kind of wait and see. But this is a mess. I think after this, AJ, I'm gonna put you in timeout. But just to give us a second, let's go to a commercial break, and we will be right back. All right, we're back, everybody. And
Serve my timeout.
Yes, serve your timeout. Thank you, AJ. AJ is reformed now. We love AJ. But speaking of other matches where I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and I was going to say other matches we love, but I don't want to put words in your mouths. We have this Apollo Crews versus Grayson Waller match, which is a spin the wheel, make the deal match, where essentially the wheel is spun, and we will see what the deal is in terms of the stipulation for the match. I guess that's kind of how it goes. But just look, Stan, maybe to start out with you, what are your thoughts going into this one?
So anything that Grayson Waller gets involved in, I immediately buy into it just because he's a Survivor fan as well. He competed on Australian Survivor. There was a time when his gear was pink, which was basically his tribe buff from when he played Australian Survivor, and that popped me a lot, right? So I'm a huge Grayson Waller fan. I want to see him stick around in NXT for as long as possible just because I think he has other similar archetypes on the main roster he's going to have to contend with. But on NXT, he's got the annoying, brash, loudmouth heel character cornered. So I think that's his niche right now. I do want to see him move up to, like, say, the North American Championship division, or maybe even the NXT Championship division, right? But right now he's in a program with Apollo Crews, and it's kind of weird to see Apollo Crews suddenly have these supernatural powers. Like they were never there before, right? And all of a sudden, his eye is bleeding, and Grayson Waller and Apollo Crews are doing this eye for an eye type of deal. It's definitely new. It's definitely something we haven't seen before, but it's not something that's been totally fleshed out enough for us to totally understand what's going on.
Well, actually, Stan, just to push back, his eye has been fleshed out a little bit too much, which I think is.
Oh, you went there.
AJ, how are you feeling?
Oh my God! Why you do that to me? What did you do?
Gross eye. I pulled a beautiful picture of Apollo's eye situation, which you could see if you watch on YouTube. RHAP has a website.com/YouTube.
I want to know how you actually do that without hurting your eye. Like, how do you SFX that?
That's really interesting. Okay, Matt, don't give us the answers. I freaking love this program. First off, I think Grayson Waller is like one of my favorite people up there. Like everything that man does is like gold, and I can't even believe it. And Apollo Crews, I love Apollo Crews. Like his athleticism is next level. Like I am so excited. I'm so happy this thing. And then it got supernatural. I was like, what happening? What is happening? When did we make this turn? How did this? So I have no clue what they're doing right now. I'm being 100% honest, but like I'm hyped for this. I'm hyped for this energy. Like I know Apollo can go. I know Grayson is good on the mic. And it's going to be a fun time. I'm excited for Discount Miz and whatever he does.
Well, you know what? In a different sense, AJ, you said Apollo can go, and yes, he can go in the ring, but Grayson Waller wants him to go. He wants him to go all the way out of NXT, which is kind of where this whole feud started. And
here's my thing. Here's my thing, right?
It really just started for no reason. Like Grayson walking up and interrupting Apollo and being like, "I got some questions for you. Why are you?"
I mean, that's the Grayson Waller character. That's his DNA.
Yeah, but why leave Apollo alone? He's just a nice man with a nice little bald head and bloody eye, and I just think that he deserves better.
Like Apollo just showed up, and Grayson said, "I'm gonna pick a fight." For no reason.
Yeah, Grayson Waller woke up and chose violence.
Which honestly, I love nothing more.
But so like to this point though, because like look, just Stan, to go a little bit further with this. What is it that you love about, like, so you mentioned loving this character, but what is it that you loved about the Grayson Waller character in this build to this match?
I think there's something very current about the way he presents himself. Like, he's the annoying type of guy who wants to be a social media influencer. And, like, we all know somebody like that, right? Whatever part of the world you're in, everybody knows somebody like that. So just to see him really be personified on screen, I think is really relatable. It's something that I can connect with. And just to share here, because I know a bit of Grayson Waller's pre-WWE backstory. His original gimmick was the 21st century success story, Matty Wahlberg. So that's what he called himself, right? And he's supposed to be like this millennial who is self-made and all that. So it's nice to see him flesh out a different type of character and make it very WWE, make it more current and more, I guess, more general, so that no matter where you're in, you're like, yes, I get the presentation, right? So I guess that's why the Grayson Waller character really resonates with me. Like the fact that he's on a nationally televised show, and yet he's got his phone right there to do a TikTok live or Instagram live. Like, I think that's amazing. I think that's great character work. And the fact that they're able to make all of that work logistically is amazing.
AJ, do you agree? It looks like you agree with that.
I agree with everything that was just said by Stan. Like, honestly, Stan hit that like right on the head. Like, I feel like this character is just so fun in a way that, like, oh, you deserve to get punched in the face. Like, full stop.
Yes.
Like, like, honestly, and I'm excited for it to happen. But like, he just brings like the flair and entertainment to everything he does, and he's so egotistical. Like he thinks he's hot-ish for no gosh darn reason.
You know what? All I have to say is this: is that like, look, Stan, not to curse on this podcast, but I just feel like Grayson Waller is a big fat.
We don't say that. Hold up, stop that.
And you know what? And his mama too. So
Do you kiss your mother with that mouth?
we have to do some post-production for this episode. But yeah, sorry. I just lost it a little bit. It must be the Sasha Banks wigs that really got to my head. Maybe some of that seeped into my brain. But like this has been amazing. And we did see the Grayson Waller effect show that he debuted, which is just a great way of him being a huge jerk. And I want to say, and we'll come back to this later, because the Grayson Waller effect talk show that he debuted also overlaps with the Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez storyline. So we'll get to that, because one of the things that I love the most about Grayson Waller is that there's a little like ticker queue with comments, quote unquote, from social media. So during the Roxanne Perez Cora Jade session, I was like taking notes on what it was all saying, and it's basically just comments that are the most amazing things written about Grayson Waller that have ever been written, which we'll get to a little bit more in that other segment. But I just have to say, like, I love this. I love that this is all pulling a character out of Apollo, because he hasn't typically been the most exciting character, especially as a babyface. But I have to say, like, I don't understand this character. Do you, AJ?
Obviously, he got poked in the eye one day, and then he got powers. Like, what is the confusing part? I'm confused. Why are you confused?
It's like, Stan, are you making sense of this? Is he culty? Is he just like, is he more spiritual now that he had the eye issue?
I wouldn't know if he's like spiritual or supernatural per se, but like when he first started getting the powers, I was like, oh hey, he's being Luke Cage right now.
Oh, yeah, you know what? That's like a good. I did get some vibes from that, because he has been giving some Luke Cage style speeches along the way. So,
yeah,
very
except
deep,
he's not in Harlem; he's in Florida.
Yeah.
same difference, basically, right? But I have to say, like, the other thing that I love, and Stan, you referenced just his Waller's reality TV past, but the one and only Mark Long from MTV's Challenge was there with Grayson Waller backstage, hyping him up, buying him a beer. Are either of you familiar with Mark Long outside of this universe?
Of course,
no,
he's
sir.
been doing this for 50 years.
Oh, yeah. Tell us more, AJ, about what you've been watching for 50 years.
So he's the godfather of the challenge, basically. Like, he's been on it for a long period of time, to like the 20th season of the regular challenge season, and then he came back for Challenge All Stars, which is like his baby, and he like kills it. He's like insanely buff for like a 50-year-old man, which is psychotic. Which I'm here for it. I'm like, cool, whatever.
So were his finals also questionable in terms of production?
Ooh.
Because like I caught the challenge CBS, and that was all sorts of questionable towards the end.
Oh.
I feel like I wasted 2 months of my life following that stuff, and we got to that absolutely horrid final.
Mark Long had nothing to do with that. Leave him alone. Let him take a breath. He did his best. By the way, AJ, in defense of Mark Long, who hopefully one day we have on the Wrestling RHAPup, this man isn't only buff for a 50-year-old. He is buff for, I could say for myself, for a 30-year-old. Yeah. Not to put words in anyone else's mouths, but this man is jacked, and I think he needs to be the next NXT champion, is what I think.
I think he's doing a good job in his current role.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't with him, so.
Like honestly, like if I see Mark Wong in person, I'm like, oh hey Mark, how you doing? Big fan.
The thing that I appreciate here, just to kind of like tie in with the storyline, is like Grayson Waller's comparisons with this man, The Miz, the one and only, and obviously Mark, The Miz. They go way back. They know each other, but you know, it's like. It's so interesting to hear the comparisons because Grayson Waller is his own unique character. And I think that obviously this conversation speaks to that. Anything else from the build to this match that you two want to talk about before we get to the predictions?
I would say in general, I personally do not like talk shows. I do not like talk shows in WWE and stuff. But Grayson Waller, he won me over quickly. And I was like, okay, you're the exception.
I love this. I agree with you for the most part. I think oftentimes they're pretty boring and they like all look the same, but like even the fact that he has constantly a camera that just trained on his face throughout the segment, like throughout his show, that's perfect.
That's from his actual Instagram account. Like he actually went live. I got the note if Grayson WWE is doing a live video, like right as that segment was airing. So props to them for having really strong Wi-Fi at the CWC.
Wow, good place to work potentially from the crowd there.
Who's that lady that does the interviews in backstage? What's her name?
Mackenzie Mitchell, I want to say.
Yeah, Mackenzie.
Why did he be disrespecting Mackenzie like that?
Dude, honestly, I love her facial reactions every time Grayson gets up in her business. Like she's just like, why me?
Andy told her she smells, which I'm just like, leave her alone. And like maybe his next feud will be with her. So
she's the best backstage correspondent in WWE, full stop. Just because of all the reactions to everybody who messes with her. I swear.
Man, she look? Do you think that so? As we look ahead to the predictions for this match, do you think, Stan, that Mackenzie Mitchell will be part of the finish? Will she cost Grayson Waller this match?
No, I think she knows her role and she sticks to it, and she's very, very good at it. So I think it'll just be between Apollo and Grayson, in which case I'm going to pull for Grayson to win just because I think he needs this. If he can defeat someone on Apollo's level, he might have a claim to going after whoever wins the NXT Championship, right? He'll be like, oh, I defeated someone who is a former U.S. and Intercontinental champion, so give me a shot or whatever. So I'm going to pull for Grayson here.
Yeah, you know what? And I'll give my prediction now because I agree. I think that Grayson Waller will take this one here. I mean, I think that Apollo Crews still needs to kind of find his spot and his thing because his gimmick right now is giving creepy, but I think you don't want creepy from a good guy, like someone you're supposed to root for. That's not the best. So I'm going to go with Grayson Waller here. I do agree. I think he needs this. And he works so damn hard. Like he puts in so much in terms of the facial reactions and everything else. We even saw him reacting to his old pal Chucky, who kind of popped up and revealed that this would be the spin wheel make a deal match. So like there's a lot there, but Grayson is my prediction. And AJ, who you got?
Are you ready to make it 3 for 3? Because I'm not going to do that. I ain't about to do that. No. So I agree with Stan. I would love to see this man in the North American title scene or in the NXT Championship scene. I don't know if I'm going to get that soon. So I think this Apollo thing will be a nice thing to hold him over until he is finally able to get into that scene. So with that being said, I do think Apollo is going to win at Halloween Havoc. However, I believe as a feud overall, I do think Grayson Waller will come out on top, if that makes sense.
Hey, can I make a bonus prediction right here?
Yeah. Bonus prediction.
Every Halloween Havoc, there's always that cinematic horror match, right? And I think this will be it for Halloween Havoc. So I'm going to call that there's going to be some cinematic shenanigans going on here and that Zombie Ref makes his return.
Not Zombie Ref. No.
Zombie Ref is the best. He's my favorite part of Halloween Havoc.
Shaking at my boots right now. Oh my gosh. So maybe we'll get this as a cinematic match, and I guess we'll have to watch out for it. But look at that. And you know what? Let's go on to the next match here, which is also a spin the wheel, make a deal, though the wheel's been spun. And we know it's going to be a Weapons Wild match, which I mean, Stan, a Weapons Wild match just a hardcore match, basically, or no, like a no DQ match?
I guess, right? Like it's just different branding for a hardcore match, maybe because Extreme Rules was just a few weeks ago. I mean, I don't mind. I like Cora Jade. I like Roxanne Perez. I'd love to see them get extreme, like Liv Morgan. So it would be nice to see them just go ape-ish on one another. Just to piggyback off one of your questions earlier regarding who's going to get called up to the main roster, I think Cora and or Roxanne are going to make it to the main roster sooner than later just because of how they seem to have figured it out. Plus, there's no one really in the same archetype that Roxanne Perez in particular is filling. Like, I have been pegging her as the female Rey Mysterio, and I think she might just carve out a niche for herself on the main roster immediately.
Look, I love that, and I think that that's a solid kind of overview and approach to things. And look, I'm totally okay with I even love the branding of a Weapons Wild match. I'm kind of hoping that the weapons all have like animal print on them, like a zebra print kendo stick could be nice, or a cheetah print trash can, or like an elephant themed table, maybe. But anyway, so diving in, AJ, what are you thinking about this match overall?
I like both Roxy and Cora. I like them both. I think they're both really fun characters. You know what? I love nothing more than best friend turning against their other best friend. Like those are just like beautiful to me. Full stop. I think Cora. I'm gonna be a buck honest. Like I started this thing saying I love heels. I love Cora. I love Cora so much. Like Cora is so fun, and another person who does not deserve it. If I'm being honest. Like when she was like, "Oh yeah, I got all these people lined up to fight Roxy," and Roxy was like, Roxy got people too. She's like, no, she don't have friends. No, what do you mean? What do you mean?
So rude. So rude. And by the way, one thing I want to say, and I think it was with this match, I started to notice that the heels really do, like, I do like the faces, the baby faces here, but like the heels really do get a lot of airtime and they get a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun in what they do. And just as to recap a little bit, you mentioned, AJ, that they were besties, these two. But what was insane about this is that Roxanne Perez, like, she debuted in NXT basically this summer, and it was within weeks that, we saw, she's there, she's establishing herself, she forms the tag team with Cora Jade. They win the tag team championships, and literally the next week, Cora Jade, while they are champions together, because of jealousy, he turns on Roxanne Perez, and then the following week drops her half of the championship in the trash, which basically led to Roxanne Perez vacating the championships. And it's like, what is going on, Cora? Because like, I would knock Cora, and I'm sure I knocked Cora before, because it felt a little bit like she was giving like an Avril Lavigne type of I mean like early Avril Lavigne, where it's like, man, this girl's really a skater girl. But like the thing is, Cora Jade did not know how to skate. Like she literally didn't know how to skateboard is the thing. So it was always just fascinating to me. I think that we would kind of roll our eyes at her character. And I like that they put her in a heel spot to give her a chance to develop something new and expand on the character. And so this is a really nice feud. And I think it's like giving, at least for me, it's making me pay more attention to these two than I would if there wasn't like a kind of a blood feud going on between them, right? Yeah.
Like those are always some of my favorite feuds. Like Ciampa and Gargano. Like love feuds.
Yeah.
Matt, you were talking about you're talking about the evolution of the Cora Jade character. Let's go even further back. When Cora Jade first appeared on NXT TV, she was really just Trey Baxter's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that was her original character. So she didn't really have much going on. Then Trey Baxter got taken off TV and eventually got released, right? So who was Cora Jade after that? So I guess it's nice that Cora Jade finally got this chance to really flesh out this persona. And, the whole Avril Lavigne skater girl character could only really take her so far as a babyface. And at first, I wasn't really convinced that turning her heel was such a good idea. But now that we've seen this play out, I'm like, yeah, sure, I can hang with this. I even appreciated the fact that there was an opportunity to align Cora Jade with Toxic Attraction and make her the next sorority pledge, but Cora Jade maintained, no, we still have beef with one another from when I was a babyface, and just because I've turned heel doesn't mean y'all are my friends now. So I really appreciated the continuity there because they really stuck with the details.
Yeah, do you think so? In a year from now, with whatever NXT looks like, I'm curious. Maybe starting with you, Stan. Like, do you think that Roxanne, Perez, or Cora Jade might be at the top of the women's division as champ in same time next year?
Fearless forecast is one of them will already have been on the main roster by this time next year.
Very interesting. And I could really see that with, well, I guess with either of them, but definitely with Roxanne Perez, just because she did just make an appearance on the main roster too. That's
So
the
did
thing
Cora.
Yeah, I mean, but like, who cares about Cora on the main roster? This is like Roxanne's time. This is what they're talking about, Stan. It's Roxanne's time. She was a featured player, a featured spot, a star. Cora, I'm not over the poser thing. I just kind of want to shade her a little bit if I can. But no, I really do agree with you, both of you actually, on kind of your assessment of this and where it's going. And I think that the generation of Jade is really obnoxious, and it's fun that she's leaning into the heel work and doing a solid job with that. I just want to have an aside here and mention. So we mentioned it's a Weapons Wild match. Grayson Waller on the wheel. But this was after the Grayson Effect segment where the two, Cora and Roxanne, were talking. And there's not really much notable from that segment other than the fact that the entire time I was just sitting there reading the comments, the fake tweets that were coming up, and things like people commenting about Waller being the best. This set is sweet. It's better than Miz TV. Handsome guy. Grayson, do you have a private jet? Waller is the man. Grayson is fun. Grayson,
my favorite part is the fact that this dude went from feuding with Apollo Crews to hosting his own talk show to being the de facto general manager all within a matter of minutes. Like, where does this guy get off suddenly making the matches and dictating the stipulations? Like,
I have to say, though, I appreciate him checking under the suit of the ghoulish Crypt Keeper character to make sure that he was not Apollo. So
that is nice. A dude who clearly knows his wrestling.
Yes, he knows his wrestling. So good for him. And like we kind of built up to this match. I mean, the only other thing that's really notable is, of course, there was the dynamic where they got to do pick your poison. So where each wrestler picks the other person's opponent. So Cora picked somebody.
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, picked Rhea Ripley. I was trying to sort through who had who, but yeah, Cora picked Rhea Ripley, and then Roxanne picked Raquel Rodriguez to take on Cora. Raquel being Cora's former partner, and so we saw in the Rhea Roxanne match. There's so many R's. I'm just like, what? But we saw in the Rhea Raquel Rhea. Wow. We saw in the Rhea Roxanne match that the two took each other on, and Rhea kind of dominated that, but the match went on.
Roxanne got dominated, and I wanted to say, do me next. Much like most of the internet.
I love it.
Woo! Okay, so then I'm sorry, Mari.
Yes, Stan. Yes, Stan.
So then we had Cora taking on Raquel, which ended pretty quickly because Raquel took out Cora with a kendo stick, and then Cora won by DQ. And after the match show, we did see in the video on WWE's YouTube, we see Cora escape and laugh while she's also wincing in pain from the kendo stick. But also that whole segment ended in Roxanne coming out, kind of beating up Cora a little, and then being raised up on Raquel's shoulders in a very beautiful heelish or babyface kind of way. But it was kind of heelish actually, girl. Like, you can't celebrate like that after beating someone up like with that kendo stick. To me, this is giving. I don't think I'm gonna win at Halloween Havoc for Roxanne Perez, but I kind of wanted to see from you two what. Let's just get into the predictions. Let's do the damn thing.
I would like to say real quick, I did respect Raquel. They was like, you know what? You're gonna try to hit me with your weapon. I'm gonna abuse you with your weapon. Like, try me. I mean, I respected that so much with all my heart.
Yes. So do you, like, AJ? Do I start with you in terms of the predictions?
Beautiful.
Who you got?
I feel like I'm on the same page with you, Matt. I think Cora Jade's gonna pull this one out. I think one of the storylines I'm being told is like Rossi does not have it in her to go with Cora Jade when it comes to playing dirty. And since this is what is it, a weapons wild match? Yeah. I think Cora Jade is like, I'll beat up my best friend. I don't care. I will hurt her. And I think Rossi's going to be like, that's that stereotypical, like, oh, I would go for it, but then it's like, but you were my best friend and I still feel emotions for you. And then Cora's like, I don't care. So I like Cora. I'm going with Cora.
Damn. So, okay, Stan, what do you think?
I just want to go back to that last image of Raquel propping up Roxanne on her shoulders. It's a nice callback to when Raquel was doing that to Cora just last year, right? When they had that little tag team going on in preparation for War Games. So it's a nice mirroring of what happened then. I think it's Roxanne's time. Cora Jade has had Roxanne's number for the last couple of months, basically since the split, and I think it's time for Roxanne to get the win and move on to her next feud.
Damn. And you know what? What's my official prediction? Well, you know what? I'm going to go with Cora Jade because in line with my predictions, I talked about Alba Fire winning the championship. I imagine a world where Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction are called up to the main roster potentially, even though, to be fair, the main roster they're in a good place. I do think that they need more women that are heels there. So I'm going to stick with that thought on Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction. But, with Cora, I could see her being NXT's next big heel. And maybe this is kind of just like the start of her continuing into that direction. But, this will be an interesting one, definitely. And you know what? We have a few more matches to talk through. I'm not sure how much. I think we'll kind of go through these a little bit more. For me personally, maybe not as interesting, but like let's continue on. We've got an ambulance match, which I gotta say, good stipulation. Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp, and AJ. Any initial reactions? Or are there no initial reactions?
This is hands down the least interesting match of the night, in my humble opinion. Like, I genuinely did not care. Like, watching all the segments and stuff, I was like, I see what you're doing. It's not gripping me. Y'all as entertainers are not gripping me right now. I wish y'all the best. And then the Roddy stuff was like, in my humble opinion, was cringy. It was like cringy. I was like cringing when I watched it. I was like,
Which part of it was
when he was in the wheelchair? When he was in the wheelchair? Yes, that man.
With
that
the
man.
neck brace, the cringe, and they had a whole segment where a very dramatic hospital segment from a couple weeks ago, where Roddy is being wheeled out by Ivy Nile, who's the Diamond Mine's all there together. It's them and the Creed brothers, of course. And he's just like, do it for me. Just do it for me. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I don't know if I'll breathe my last breath, but just do it. It was so sad. And the music in the background was very. I don't know who chose it, but whoever chose it should have had someone give them feedback that it was a little bit too much. It felt like I was watching General Hospital or something.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It gave off big soap opera vibes. I was like,
yeah, but like Stan, looking at this feud overall, like, I mean, I don't know if you want to comment on the hospital segment itself, but like, what jumps out to you about this feud between these two? What's worth noting for the people who are listening today?
Oh, Damon Kemp's character work, absolutely. I'd like to think that Damon Kemp has been pleasantly surprising as a character. I didn't really expect much heading into him turning on Diamond Mine. I was actually shocked when it happened in the first place, but to see him break out and be further along in his development than his actual brother, Gable Steveson, is pretty shocking. I in the best ways possible. I think the stipulation with the whole if Julius loses, Brutus has to leave. I think it's a giveaway for Julius eventually winning. So that's the official prediction on my end.
It is official.
But that being said, I want to give Damon Kemp his flowers here because he really has been pulling his weight here in terms of the promo work and trying to get under the Creed's skin and really being this bad guy who was hiding right under everybody's noses all along. I mean, Diamond Mine has gone through so many losses from Hachiman no longer being part of it, Stokely no longer being a part of it. But I'd like to think that with this wrinkle being thrown in, that Damon Kemp was this unassuming rook who nobody was paying attention to, everybody was disrespecting, and he comes out and starts swinging at the Creed brothers, right? I think it was a great wrinkle that they threw in there, and I'm all in on Damon Kemp breaking out.
Yeah, you know what? So many traitors in this NXT roster. Like, you know what? This next generation has no loyalty. And back in my day, we did,
back in my day, we played Survivor for 39 days.
Yeah, we played Survivor for 39 days and we didn't turn on anybody.
That never happened in Survivor.
Yeah, no, but I love that. Like, I love everything you said about Damon Kemp and what he's doing, and I feel like it's nice to see that these guys are actually getting a chance on the mic. Like, we got the segment between Julius and Damon talking about just jaw-jacking back and forth at each other. And the thing that's really cool about this feud is just the real backstory of these two as amateur wrestlers. Kemp as Division I wrestler at the University of Minnesota. He won't let you forget that he was the Pan American Games champion, which I'm sure is a big deal because he wouldn't stop mentioning it. Yeah. And also that I mean, of course he turned against Diamond Mine, but he was turning against these people who he wrestled in amateur wrestling in college. Like, that's what he was saying. And so there's some real deep heat in there. But I don't know. I don't trust that man, which I think is probably a good thing considering what his role is. I do think it's ironic, though, in all this that we have like someone in this whole situation named Brutus, like, and he wasn't the one who was the traitor. Like, come on, it was right there. It was right there.
I mean, why would you split the Creed brothers up? They're a package deal. You don't split them up. I mean, names notwithstanding.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about all this. But anything else you want to mention from this feud that's particularly... anything else come to mind for you to review before we go to predictions?
Big meaty men slapping meat.
That's what we got here. Lots of meats. And you know what? Let me just go with my prediction first for the meaty ones. I'm going to go with Damon Kemp winning here. And Diamond Mine getting called up. I know that, Stan, you shared your official prediction already of Diamond Mine retaining, which I would think would happen. But also, why not? Let's just have him win here. He could be this great heel. He's just infuriating. And honestly, I think that the Creed brothers could add, if they decide to focus more on the tag division on the main roster, the Creed brothers could really add something. But yeah, let me just go with that insane prediction. And Stan, we have your prediction. AJ, I want to see what you're thinking here.
So here's the thing. I do agree with one of you.
Oh.
So I'm in the boat with Stan. I think I've never been more sure about anything else in my life than Julius Creed winning this match. Like, I feel like we're being telegraphed every step of the way. Like,
you're probably right, but but if Damon Kemp with his nasally little voice wins this match and keeps getting at us with all these promos, like, I'm into it. I don't like it. Like, I actually hate it. But like the things that Damon Kemp is making me feel as a wrestling viewer, like, AJ, imagine how you're feeling about Toxic Attraction. I feel like that for Damon Kemp, except like it's very different. Like, he's making feel real emotions that are anger as opposed to lust or love, but still, it's real, and that's what matters.
I think in 6 months he'll be really good. That's my response.
By the way, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll get back to cover the last couple matches and do a fun little game as we wrap up. Okay, we are back. So here we are. And you know what? We're getting into some action. And this one, there's honestly, I don't have much to say about this match. I think the characters are the most maybe interesting part of this. And even still, there, in my opinion, at least leaves something to be desired. But we're going to talk about Nathan Frazier versus Oro Mensah versus Carmelo Hayes versus Wesley versus Von Wagner in a ladder match for the NXT North American Championship. And this all really started because, of course, we've had Carmelo Hayes in the spot as the A champ with the NXT North American Championship. He lost it to Solo Sikoa, who had to give up the championship because the match wasn't actually... He wasn't sanctioned to be in the match. And rather than Shawn Michaels, the one and only Heartbreak Kid, giving the championship back to Carmelo, which I would have done, I have to say, questionable decision, Shawn, but still.
I stand by Shawn.
He decided to put it up.
How dare you question the Heartbreak Kid, sir?
I mean, okay, like it's a choice. It's like, really, did we have to make this man jump through hoops to get it back?
Yes.
He lost to someone who shouldn't have won it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the fool. You're the fool who lost.
I mean, I guess it is
Exactly.
wrestling.
You got your ass pinned 1, 2, 3. Of course you're gonna have to go jump through hoops.
I mean, honestly, look, I'm ready for it. I like where it's going. I can't blame Shawn Michaels too much. I like what he's doing. I also appreciate how, like, now that he's in his older years, he just decides to wear a shirt. You know? Like, isn't that interesting? But anyway, so we had basically Shawn announce, like, okay, at Halloween Havoc, we're gonna do a 5-way ladder match, and I'm gonna have 4 other competitors compete and qualify. And so that's how we got Oro Mensah, we got Wesley, Von Wagner, Nathan Frazier, and just a little background with Mensah. He beat Grayson Waller to qualify with a little help of Apollo Crews in his bloody eye, and that was Mensah's NXT proper debut, even though he'd been in NXT UK. We got Wesley, who also qualified, beating Tony D'Angelo, but that match ended in a legit injury and ref stoppage, but he still qualified. We got Nathan Frazier, who beat someone named Axiom, who I didn't really know much about, in a best of 3 series, and then a final match to qualify. And Nathan Frazier, also from NXT UK, just debuted on this roster around May. And then we also got Von Wagner, who has Robert Stone and the Robert Stone brand in his corner as his manager, and he beat Andre Chase to qualify. There's not a lot of story here, other than that we did see everyone basically end the night, just the other night, knocked out and laid out. But I don't know, anything that you two want to kind of shout out or mention from this storyline in relation to this match?
I love Carmelo. I love Carmelo. Like he is so much fun. Like as a and Trick Williams. Like like those two together.
We love them so much. Love
they
them.
hype me up so much. I'm like, y'all need to be my hype crew like 100%. Like I love them. They're amazing. Yeah.
And the fact that like Trick can talk and Carmelo could talk, like, and they're still able to like be together and complement each other so much is like chef's kiss, right? Like, Stan, I want to ask you, is there anyone from this that like jumps out or stands out for you from this dynamic?
Yeah, probably Wesley and Von Wagner. Like, if I had to really zero in on a couple of contenders for the North American Championship, it's really those two who are most likely to win for me. And going back to what you said earlier, Matt, about how there isn't really a cohesive story heading into this ladder match, I think it's because of all of them having their own individual stories. Like, Von Wagner is just really trying to find his way after a year of bouncing around NXT and not really having his own niche on the roster, and then him aligning with Mr. Stone and deciding that this is Von Wagner's world and you're just living in it. So that story's just beginning to get legs under it. And then there's Wesley, who's still in that self-discovery arc since MSK got torn apart because Nash Carter got released.
Yeah.
Ora Mensah is the newest character here, obviously, because he got repackaged coming in from NXT UK, right? But I think they already have something with Nathan Fraser here, and they were able to establish him as this plucky, high-flyer babyface who's willing to stand up to bigger dudes, bigger bullies, like your Von Wagners, like your Trick Williamses. So that's good. And then there's Carmelo, who's got the baggage of being the two-time champ, who got bested by Solo Sikoa on an off day. So I think all of those individual stories coming together, yeah, sure, it's not as cohesive, it's not as put together, but I can get behind the individual arcs heading in, and that's why I'm kind of invested in this one, actually. So I'm really excited to see who wins. I'd love to be surprised by like an Oro Mensah victory, but I think it's Wesley or Von Wagner here for my money.
Wow, and not Mello either. That's interesting.
No, not Mello. Not Mello.
Interesting. And AJ, what about you in terms of your prediction?
So here's my thing, right?
Give us your thing.
I like being a contrarian. And I was like debating between two people, like who do I think really going to win this match? One of them was Wesley. I like what Wesley's doing, but for my official prediction, I think Oro Mensah is going to win this. Yeah, and I think the main thing is storytelling. Well, not storytelling, but when I was watching Booker T talk about like, what does it take to win a ladder match and stuff like that, like every time he starts to talk about that, next thing I see is Oro Mensah doing some cool shit, like full stop. And I'm like, you know what? I'm hype about this Oro Mensah. I don't know what he's got going on, but I'm excited to see what he could be doing in the future. And I think this is the person that I'm like putting my money behind.
Oh my god! I like that. I like that. At some other point, we'll have to talk about Booker T on commentary because I have thoughts. Not great
Shucky, ducky, quack, quack.
Ducky, quack, quack. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, why are
Hey, I still pop for it all these years later.
I'm so over him. I've been over him, though. I've been over him for about 20 years, but that's a whole other story. I wish I was joking. But anyway, my prediction, I really want to say Mello here, but my actual prediction, which I have on paper, which I'll stick with, is Wesley. Wesley has really been working to climb his way up ever since, like, basically around WrestleMania season, winning the tag championships, having to get rid of them because his tag team partner legitimately was let go, fired for doing horrible people things. And he's kind of had a story of working his way back up. And I just really like him. I love his theme song. So what else are you gonna ask for? Honestly? I just want to listen to his theme song more. So we're going with Wesley. Or that'd be, I almost said Les Wee, which could also be a good name. But
no, you're on your own on that one.
That was like nothing. That was nothing. I'm glad I made AJ laugh.
You didn't make me. Well, I guess you did make me laugh, but what I thought because of what you said made me laugh, and I was like,
Contrarian. We'll talk about the last match on the card now. Dragunov, aka Ilya Dragunov, that's his name, versus JD McDonough versus the champ Braun Breaker, son of Rick Steiner, nephew of Scott Steiner. Yeah, all the things, the people, Big Papa Pump, he's little son Pump. But yeah, like maybe just to set this up, Stan, starting with you. Like, how are you feeling about this match? Are you feeling it? Or are you not feeling it?
I'm pretty excited to see Ilya Dragunov do his thing. I've been following NXT UK since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that's when I really got attached to Ilya Dragunov as an in-ring performer. And, this guy comes out with this intensity level at a 105. Like, from the moment he enters, he's already up there, right? It makes you question if he's had like one too many energy drinks in the back before his music would play. But that's just really how the dude is wired, and I love everything about Ilya Dragunov's presentation, from the torpedo, the music, and all of that. Even though they had to change it and take out the Russian references for obvious reasons. So I'm excited to see him just lay waste to JD and to Braun. Even though I know that I think we're still gonna get a Braun Breaker win here, just because Braun wins, lol. But it doesn't matter, as long as Ilya does his thing and wrecks everybody in sight up until Braun pulls out that power slam.
AJ, what are you thinking about this match? And does anyone jump out to you especially from this one?
I have strong opinions about all three of these people.
Yes. What are your opinions? Just like get us started with your opinions on these people.
The man who's currently on screen, which is Ilya Dragunov. I hate that man with all my heart. I hate him so much.
Why?
What did he do to you?
Yeah, what did he do to you?
I saw his intensity and I was like, you can go sit down. Like, honestly, you need a timeout. Like, honestly, stop it. I legit, when he came out, there was a big pop and I was like, okay, now you're running this fun feud between Breaker and JD. Like, what are you doing here? And I get you're a big deal and stuff. However, it's not for me. The Machine guy, like, he's fun in the ring. I like seeing him fight. But like, as a character, I'm not a fan of the intensity. That's not my jam. That's not my cup of tea. So it's cool, not for me.
Damn. Okay, so thoughts on JD McDonough?
I love this man with all my heart.
Oh God. Stop it.
What do you mean?
He's like keep going.
Like, honestly, this is a villain, a horror movie villain on every level. Like, whatever that psychological thriller there is, he's going to be the villain of it. And I like... And I love it. Like, he's like, oh, I love pain. I love the tolerance of pain and all that. His pushing the body, human limits and stuff. I was like, oh my God, you're a sociopath. And I cannot get enough of you.
You know what, AJ? I have to say,
yes,
you're bringing me around to this. Like, if I could just sit and watch him continue on with this creepy, because it's like I'm not enjoying it. I'm cringing every moment of it, and I'm like, sir, we don't need your self-care routine. Like, he talks about his self-care routine and he's getting acupuncture. Like, we see him bleeding because he's really into blood. He's really giving Army Hammer. And I say that like he would eat me. He would legitimately eat me and like lick my bones. And it's kind of gross, but it's also very cringe. I will also say it's like the fact that he's weirdly into hurting people and inflicting pain is not great. And also, it's kind of funny that Ilya Dragunov is also very much into pain, because I'm like, okay, what is going on?
No, Ilya Dragunov can withstand pain, and JD McDonough inflicts pain for fun.
But they're
That's
both
the difference.
They really are both into it, and I don't know what's in the water in the UK, but I mean, honestly, like, I'll take some if it makes me impervious to pain. But very like odd stuff. Odd characters. I could go on and on about the creep factor of JD. There were like 20 promos that I sent to both of you to watch that were mostly of JD McDonough, and I cringed more and more every time.
I watched all of them on 1 at speed. Like, I was into it.
I was gonna say, did you watch them on half speed just to really take it in?
I mean, to be very fair to JD, at least he makes you he evokes such visceral reactions, right? Like that one segment when it was just him and Braun and he actually made his finger bleed. I was just like, what the is wrong with this guy, right?
So I was like, oh my God, I'm not okay. I'm uncomfortable. More.
Yeah, and I think that's a modern way to get heat, right? In this day and age, like, evoke that visceral reaction because of the pain and all that.
Yeah. Man, look, these people are really going for it, and it's insane. And I have to say, like, just the dynamic with the three of them is very intense. And we saw them with Kevin Owens on the KO show on NXT, where he was really kind of taking some shots at JD for good reason, and creepy things that also go outside of character. I would say many people could interpret it like that. And then there's Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov, who are also here. I will also point to the fact that even just coming out of NXT this week, we had a tease from the one and only Austin Theory, Mr. Money in the Bank, who knows, who might actually cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase
and win the NXT Championship instead of taking on Roman Reigns and cashing in against him. What might be a wise choice, but and even just to touch on that dynamic, because we haven't even touched on like him at all. I mean, Stan, what do you think about this with Austin Theory? Do you think we're going to see him show up at Halloween Havoc at all?
Yeah, I think we are. The reason why they trotted him out right at the end of NXT this week was to introduce the possibility of him actually cashing in Money in the Bank for the NXT Championship, and it's not something we've seen before. So I think it's refreshing. And given the direction of Roman Reigns' title run, I don't think he's losing anytime soon. He's so impervious to title defenses at this point that I think Austin Theory just looks like a geek if and when he cashes in Money in the Bank, right? So I think we're seeing Austin Theory cash in here.
Man, we'll see. But if he cashes in, does that mean that he wins? He has to win it if he cashes in,
I think
right?
he has to win it. Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't mind seeing Austin Theory as NXT champion.
Well, I mean, since we're kind of going there, and we could talk, in our predictions or summaries a little bit about like other things you might want to mention from the build up to this. Most of my notes are just creepy things from JD, but I want to so Stan, just to stick with what you said there, you think that
Austin Theory cashes in. It doesn't matter what any of these three do, they can wreck each other in the ring all they want. Austin Theory cashes in, he walks out NXT champion.
Wow. But here's so do you think that, like, how do you think it's going to go down?
I think Braun retains because Braun wins LOL, and then Austin Theory cashes in.
All right. We'll take it. Look, and honestly, Braun has been, like, there were some video packages in the lead up to this. Braun has really been, like, kicking his ass to lead the way in NXT 2.0 since its inception about 13 months ago. And, he's really done a great job in the championship spot to mixed
100%.
reviews, but he has been champion. And like in kayfabe has really had a solid run, including unifying his championship with the NXT UK championship, which Tyler Bate had a few months ago. So, he's no lightweight either. But I have to say, AJ, I respect your opinion greatly, even though I do question it half the time.
Listen, I stand on my convictions.
and we love you for it. But I want to ask, what are you thinking about this match in terms of predictions and anything else you just want to mention about the build?
I've enjoyed the build. It was a lot of fun. I'm excited for this match. I think it's going to be a good one. I'm going to co-sign half of what Stan just said. The part I don't stand with, I think JD McDonough's going to win. I think he's going to win the match. The story I've been told is like, don't underestimate your opponents from Finn Balor and from other people. And ever since Dragunov got in, McDonough felt like a side character. Like why are you even in this match right now? Like, I'm being honest. And honestly, I think that's built up to like, you shouldn't have underestimated this Madonna character. But then I think Austin Theory will cash in. And I do think Austin Theory will be NXT champion and beat Madonna for it.
Wait, sorry, I thought you said Madonna for a second at the end, and I was like, wait, what? She's in this match? Honestly, okay, so I did write down my predictions beforehand here, but one thing I just want to reference is another question from Derek, who mentions that Ilya Dragunov is a top 5 wrestler in the world, but Derek will readily admit that Ilya's character needs work. Do we see him winning this weekend? I guess our predictions are kind of answering that question. And if not, what should they do with him? I mean, there's so much they could do with him. He just got here, and there's definitely a story because he didn't lose the NXT UK championship to anyone. He was injured and then had to relinquish it. And so I think that there's a lot there. I would love to see him in that championship picture still. He still feels very fresh, and they could bake out that character more, though I do think they need to figure out how to distinguish it from JD, because the pain thing, like, you can't just have a lot of pain people around, but then again, they are wrestlers, so it makes sense. But I guess I'm gonna go with my prediction here on paper with the one and only Braun Breaker.
Cool. And you know what? Just looking at NXT Halloween Havoc overall, any thoughts as we wrap up our discussion about Halloween Havoc?
I'm excited. I think this is going to be a fun show. I'm ready for all the matches. I'm ready for Mandy Rose and Alba Fire. I think this is going to be a good night, fun matches. I think all around, and like maybe one snooze.
Yeah, I think that there won't be a lot of changes to the status quo outside of Austin Theory shocking the world here.
Look, I love to hear it. We love to see it. Ultimately, I don't know. I wonder what I'm most excited by. I'm excited for this card overall and to tune in tonight and to take it in. But I'm glad that we caught up on NXT. Yeah. Hope that this gave other people a chance to catch up on NXT because it's easy to fall behind on it when there's so much happening with Elite Wrestling over AEW, and then of course even just with the main roster itself. So thank you too for recapping this. But as you know, we're not done yet. We're not done because right now we're getting ready for a segment that Mari and I call the shoot. And in the shoot, we talk about what we want, we do what we want. But today, I want to engage you two. Yes, AJ, turn on that light, that bright light. Today, I want to invite you two to be part of a game, or as what's his name? As Jigsaw would say in Saw, do you want to play a game? Yeah. See, I'm very Halloween-y themed. But here we are. And this game, I'll call it Halloween Lookbook. Basically, and I asked you two to have pieces of paper ready, 10 pieces of paper each ready, and also a marker. Because what I'm going to do, and this is the point where if you're listening to audio, I would encourage you to check out YouTube, robbizwebsite.com/YouTube. You could find that link in the show description too. What we're going to do is just quickly go through some Halloween costumes from some wrestlers.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk through what we're seeing. And I'm going to ask you to guess the prices of the costumes that you see. So that's the game. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Curious to hear your reactions. But AJ, you know what? Since you said that's going to be fun, and because you're our Bray Wyatt, and because Bray Wyatt has a relation to many of the characters who are here on the screen, we're going to look at costumes from a bunch of them, and I'll mention who they are as we go along for the audio folks. But AJ,
yes,
who would you like to begin with in terms of their costume?
I think let's go with the man of the hour. Let's start with Roman Reigns.
All right, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Here we go. So we have a Roman Reigns children's Halloween costume, Ruby's Child's WWE Roman Reigns deluxe costume, as shown, small. So what are we seeing here, AJ? Just if you want to describe what you're looking at.
So we got a fat head of Mr. Roman Reigns.
Acknowledge me.
Like basically a big head on a small child's body. He looks like a comic book character come to life. It is horrifying. It is nightmare fuel. Oh my god! It's not. Oh my gosh! It just got worse. So he had a paper plate on his face.
It's basically a one-dimensional. I don't even know what to call it. Like a mask. It's like a piece of paper that you strap.
Yeah.
That the kid would have strapped.
100%.
Face. Yes.
Oh my gosh! I got knocked down the price real quick.
And so I definitely write down your price. But here we are, looking at this wonderful Roman Reigns costume. Just as you get ready to reveal your prices.
Oh my god!
What is the would you wear this costume, AJ?
Here's my question.
Yeah.
And what word is this the deluxe costume? Like
Yeah, I'd love to see the basic version.
I would love to know what the basic version looks like.
Can I give my thoughts on this in one sound effect?
Yes.
All right, this is what I think about this costume.
Wow. Hopefully we don't see any kids with that costume on. Sorry, I'm just fixing my Sasha Banks wig a little bit.
Matt, to answer your question, after a night of drinking and I forgot to get a costume, I'd be like, let me grab this paper plate and put on a t-shirt.
I mean, and I think the thing is, it's like, look, this isn't. I'll just say this is not the worst costume.
Oh no!
Does it at least come with the shirt?
I don't think it comes with the shirt. From what I've seen. No. I think it's just the mask.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Let me knock on the price again.
Stan, do you have your price ready?
Yes, I do.
What? Okay, wait, hold on. And AJ, finish up your price.
I'm ready.
Okay, so Stan's price is $6.66.
I love it.
AJ, what's your
My
price?
$4.58.
Okay, let's see who's closer. The official price is $43.
That was a lie. That was a lie. Oh
Wow.
no! I disagree.
I honestly did not pay close attention to these prices, but I have questions.
Oh my gosh!
So many questions.
All of the
Stan,
questions.
Speaking of questions, I have a question for you. Who would you like to do next? Maybe we'll go through a handful of these wrestlers. Maybe not all of them, but who would you like to go to next?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to go with one of the wrestlers on the right, and
his name is John Cena!
All right, I have a very special one that I found for John Cena. It is the Lucky Trick or Treat John Cena Mask Standard. May be available at a lower price for
Oh my gosh.
essentially without free Prime shipping.
hey, I have a question about this one.
Yeah.
Which bank are you out to rob if you're going to be buying this off of Amazon?
Does this look like John Cena? Because if you rob that bank, who in the world's gonna? Oh, John Cena just came in and robbed me. This does not look like John Cena, if you ask me.
No, what?
This looks like his face looks a little bit like a potato, to be honest.
Not even the potato, just the sack.
Oh my god! So
This is a repugnant model.
Your prices. Yeah, I'm like curious about just your AJ.
Yes.
How are you feeling about this? What are you thinking?
Like, this is the scariest mask I've seen all season. Like, truly, full-heartedly. Honestly, I feel like this is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
Is there a soul? I feel like the soul has just lost.
This is very disturbing and
I'm
sad.
not okay.
I'm ready with my price.
Me too.
Okay, AJ, what is your price first?
My price is $24.99.
$24.99. Stan? $39.79. The official list price of this horrible John Cena mask.
Dang.
$59.98. Stan, you get a point.
Thank
I
you.
hope
Thank
you.
You.
Are keeping track of the points because I
Hold up. Why would you even pay $59.99 for this crap?
look
Bring back the paper
honestly,
plate.
and you know what? I'm gonna spoil something now because it is it's the same seller and it's the same price. There's a costume here for The Rock.
Finally!
You know,
I think that this kind of looks like The Rock. I think it does. The only this costume, if you take away the people's eyebrow, looks a little bit more like Vin Diesel to me. I'm just saying, or like Professor X from X-Men.
I mean, the neck's a little bit wrinklier than Dwayne's actual neck.
Just a little.
Like, this looks like Batista's head with The Rock's face.
Yeah, it's questionable, but you know what?
It looks video gamey. I'll give it that.
I mean, it does have the eyebrow, and it's a lot easier to wear the mask with the eyebrow than do the eyebrow yourself like all night long. So I could see myself getting this one actually.
You get hot, Matt. You got hot under a wig. You cannot gonna wear that.
Look, no, I have to. It's the gimmick. I hope I don't pass out. So continuing on. So we went through Roman Reigns, John Cena. Just took a look at the Rock, but AJ. Who should we go to next?
Why don't we clean up the bottom row and let's go with Finn Balor?
Okay. Finn Balor, an interesting one. We'll take it in. This is specifically the demon Finn Balor. So with the paints and the trunks and everything. Curious to hear your thoughts on this costume.
Good God.
So Stan,
What's that reaction about?
I mean, it's atrocious. It looks like it's trying to pull off something very culturally insensitive.
Oh,
You see what I'm trying to get at
my
here,
God.
right, AJ?
Yeah, I see. I see.
Okay.
Like a very bad
wow.
ninja impression.
Ooh.
It's just all sorts of atrocious. So it's gonna be a no for me.
Ooh. Yeah, I knew that something felt off about it, which is why I included it, but I didn't even. Oh my God. Yeah, not great. And this for context, AJ, could you explain what we're looking at?
So we have this morph suit of Demon Finn Balor.
Yeah.
You have his little head thing, which is separate, and then you have his mask of what is supposed to be the mouth coming up to the eyes, looking like a ninja, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you go to the black, and then there's like a bunch of hands coming out of his pelvis area. And then you also have teeth on the knees. Like,
Yeah.
it's very uncomfortable.
Not great.
Not great.
And I just have to point out, and I don't know if this is the costume or the suit, but the thighs are very pale. Very pale thighs.
Finn Balor's a very pale person.
No, he tans, right?
Yeah, Finn Balor's not that pale.
He
No,
was at one point.
he definitely was. Yeah, that's right, AJ. He was at one point.
See, okay, if it didn't have the Demon Finn elements, I would have said something like, Lord Tensai!
Oh no.
Oh, bless it. Oh, Lord.
With the references here. What's your price, Stan? What's your price?
$98.85.
$98.85, AJ.
Donate to your local Goodwill.
$48.95, and I think technically AJ gets closer with that one. Like, what's the difference between $0 or maybe like $5 that they might pay you for donating and
Yes.
98? I think you are technically closer than Stan on
I
that.
agree.
That was a close one though.
That was a tough one. Like, we were right there, Stan.
Yes.
Right.
So we have a few more, and you know what? Let me just pick the next one here.
Pick your favorite.
Let me pick one that I'm a fan of. I'm gonna go with the Undertaker here.
The Undertaker.
And here we go.
Ooh, nice.
Ruby's women's Undertaker adult costume. I don't know.
All right, that's kind of hot.
I love this one. I
have
love
to
this one.
say, I
This
chose
was
this one
it.
because it wasn't giving
Yes.
me Undertaker as much as like
Equalizer.
goth girl in high school with the nice wide rims hat. So, but this is actually kind of like authentic. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of authentic.
I'm here. I would wear this.
I could see it. See it. Ruby's women's Undertaker adult costume.
Right in my
Adult. I also. Well, never mind. I guess with all these costumes, I guess it's either like a kid's costume or an adult costume, but that could have another meaning and other.
I mean, this costume's totally sexy Undertaker. Let's be real here.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, this is like I don't know. There's something jarring to me about this costume, but it is giving a little bit Undertaker. Do you have your prices ready?
Yes, I do.
I as well.
It is quite nice.
$69.99 from Stan. AJ.
$119.59.
$119.59. Wow, we get a high price tag. I think that Stan nailed it. The
He's
price
in the
range is
range.
$54.99 to $73.99 if I could see through my Sasha Banks glasses properly. There
Just
we
say
go.
this was the highest quality thing I've seen
Ooh.
all day.
Yeah.
That is the low.
I second it.
And you know what? Let's go to one more of these, and I'm gonna let me go with Stone Cold Steve Austin here. I want to know your thoughts. So you got to get the bald cap. You got to get the vest is very cool. It is authentic.
Oh my gosh.
Stone Cold.
Oh, no.
You got the bodysuit underneath, the pale bodysuit with the abs, which like honestly Stone Cold didn't always have the abs. And then the jean shorts, which aren't
Oh my
really giving
God.
jean. I don't know.
It's
What
giving
I think the
cardboard.
more important question is how much did this dude get paid to wear this horrible, horrible costume? Because clearly he looks like he isn't being paid enough.
Honestly, I hope he was paid at all.
I
Because
don't think
Because this poor guy looks unhappy.
Like, I'd be mad too. You see what he's wearing, Stan? I'd be pissed.
and honestly, he doesn't look too happy with this one.
Oh my gosh.
AJ, what's the price of this one if you had to put out a guess?
I think this is my best guess all day. $34.99.
$34.99. Oh, I like that number.
Yeah, it's a nice number.
And Stan, come to us.
I just want to say, pay the model.
Pay the model.
Yes.
Hopefully more than $34.99.
Yes.
$47.95. AJ, gotta give that one to you here.
No, pay the model. We don't do food.
Pay the model.
This poor model.
And honestly, like the one costume that I really want to show you. There are all sorts of costumes on Amazon.
Oh, I'm terrified.
But two costumes that I want to show you. Featuring Hulk Hogan. There's an adult union suit. I don't know what that is.
No, you know what? I disagree.
What is that? How much do you think this costs,
Brother.
because I don't know what we're looking at. We're looking at like a Hulk Hogan themed.
What am I looking at? I'm confused.
It's like
lost.
baggy. Okay, wait, let me try. Baggy pants and also a hoodie top, but the hoodie top is tucked into the baggy pants, which have a nice belt, a nice red belt on, and it's like if Hulk Hogan, like instead of being a wrestler in the 1980s, it's like if Hulk Hogan were Gen Z, is what this is giving. That's the best way I could describe it.
I mean, I would wear that at a slumber party, I guess.
Yeah, it is a slumber party look, definitely. I still don't know what a union suit is. Like, is it what you wear to like the union get-togethers?
Or like when you organize a union.
Yes, when you organize a union stand.
But there are no unions in wrestling, so I guess you
Ooh.
can't wear this.
Well, maybe that's why it's a costume stand.
Or maybe it's a deep cut to how Hulk Hogan busted the first union.
Wait, so write down your prices of this one, but I'm gonna. So Stan has a price up. What is it? $49.99.
Yeah.
AJ.
I wrote down, where is Alba's fire bat? We need to burn it. $29.99.
And Stan almost on the money with It's $48.99.
Ooh,
Oh, dang.
Stan, do you own this one?
No, I do not.
I wouldn't be surprised. That would.
I think I would throw it in the trash if I had it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. No, we need the bat for this one.
Yeah, we have a second one. AJ, what are you reacting to? What are we looking at?
So you put up a plastic Hulk Hogan face mask in front of me, with the power bandana type thing and a very yellow mustache, like extremely yellow.
Yes.
I want to say something about this, but I don't want it on the record, so I'm going to put it in the private chat.
Okay, yeah, so we're not going to talk about it.
And his teeth. Look at his teeth. Oh my
Honestly,
god.
Lots of
Yes,
questions.
Stan. You know what? I won't say it out loud either, but I agree.
Wait. I'm so sorry. You know what? Honestly, we know Hulk Hogan, and that's all I'm gonna say.
This is probably the most terrible thing we've seen, and we saw some really horrible stuff.
You really did. You really did. Honestly,
Okay.
Matthew, is this your form of torture? Because I'm tortured.
I mean, oh god, I'm getting hot just laughing from this. I'd take off the Sasha Banks. Whew. Oh my god. So
I really wish we could say what we could not say just
how
now,
much,
though.
I'm like, don't eat. I know we can. But what's the price of this man who I would definitely run away from if someone came up to me wearing this mask? Burn it is Stan's.
I agree. I agree.
Just avoid. Not
I put
that with the 10-foot pole.
my life was better before this, negative $50.
Okay. and just so you know, it's only $9 was the official price. So
There we go. We did it, guys. We made the costumes. We made it happen. We wrestling wrapped it up. It did it. What a good note to end on. All right, everybody.
Love it.
Here we are. And that was
We made it.
segment, our shoot segment on this episode.
We did it.
Of course, if folks want to learn more about the Wrestling RHAPup, all you need to do is subscribe at RHAPup.com/wrestling feed. But I'm going to go to you, AJ. First, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DuckKidNorris. That is where I will promote any other podcasts or projects I'm doing. I got the Two Can't Keep a Secret podcast with the great Jay. We're returning this week, so I'm excited to talk about season 2. I'm also going to be talking about something else Halloween related with the great Naomi Campbell and Felipe Shimon. We're talking about Monster House, the movie, which is exciting. And also this Tuesday, I am joining the great Grace Leader with several other great people. One of them on this podcast with me to play roll call, and I'm excited.
I am too. So check it out. And AJ mentioned where to follow him, but yes, watch us play the game Clue on Roll Call, Grace's phenomenal podcast. And you can follow us on social media, keep up with that, and see us tweeting that out and things. Stan, where can the people find you?
You can find me on social media at _StanC. That's _STANSY. If you want to check out what pop radio sounds like in the Philippines, go tune in to twitch.tv/995playfm from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern. So it's the morning show here or on my side of the world. And on Wednesdays, we play music from the 2000s, so like the good old days for our generation. Then Thursdays, I play childhood anthems, so like Disney stuff, musicals, cartoon theme songs, stuff like that. So those are my favorite days of the week for sure.
Man, gotta say, love it, Stan. And shout out to you, and hope people find you, follow you, all the things. Always great to have both of you, AJ, Stan. And, you could follow my co-host, Mari, who will probably never talk to me again after this episode, at Mari Talk Too Much 2, like the number 2. She's doing phenomenal work, even beyond this podcast. I'm sure Mari'd have a ton of plugs, including her podcast, Crime Scene, with the one and only Sarah Carradine here on RHAP, which you can find at robhiswebsite.com/crime scene feed. Or maybe it's just robhiswebsite.com/crime feed. That sounds right. And you could, again, follow us at robhiswebsite.com/wrestling feed and subscribe. You could follow us on Twitter at Wrestling RHAPup. Use the hashtag Wrestling RHAPup. Email us at wrestling@robhiswebsite.com. Ask us if you want to join the official, unofficial private Facebook group. Job has a Squadcast. And so many things. But one of the things I'd like to mention is become a patron of Rob Has a Podcast at robhasawebsite.com/Patreon. And AJ's holding up a message that says,
Did you proud, Mari?
I can't put it better myself. Thank you so much, Stan and AJ, for being here. And as Mari says each and every week, wrestling is for everybody, but not all wrestling is for everyone. Goodbye, everybody.
Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver half up's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, huh? Showing out like Bianca Belair, huh? Best podcast, flushing in the air, huh? Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, huh? No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver half up's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.